My first ever job was as an eyewear consultant for a company called Optica. Eyewear consultant is just a fancy name for sales. Now, when I got that job, there is a new fear that gripped me, and I call this fear foolishness. You know what that fear was? I wasn't fearful that I would get transferred to another branch, that maybe I would get part of my salary deducted out of making errors here and there. No, the fear was, I have a degree in international relations and security studies. I have studied with several people. Some of them are in media. Others are succeeding and excelling in the things that they are doing in their own private capacity. What if one of them comes to that shop and finds me there as a salesman? In fact, I used to sit at the front desk hoping that the next person that walks in had better not be someone who knows me. That was the fear that I had. And it was total foolishness. It's a problem that we human beings have. We don't like humble beginnings. We like the finished product. I left that company. I went on under my own capacity to become a political analyst. And when I was starting out, truth be told, I had two coats. If I was not in my dark gray coat, I was in my blue coat, or I had a brown denim jacket. It had to be one of those three. I was recording outside in front of a mabati under a tree. There were so many challenges. If birds start singing, you have to stop what you're saying, which also leads to more editing time. If somebody knocks the gate, you have to stop what you're doing to go open the gate, then go back to the point that you were saying. Those were some of the challenges that were there. And my biggest fear was, these videos, I'm just hoping that nobody who I am related to, nobody who I studied with is going to see these videos. And do you know what? Those videos would get 1 million views, 500,000 views, 50,000 views, 800,000 views. And at first it kind of bothered me. I was like, what if somebody who knows me sees this video, sees me recording in front of a mabati, under a tree? Will that not be really embarrassing to me as a person? That again is the same problem I'm calling foolishness. We don't like humble beginnings. Let me tell you the truth. This microphone you see here today, the XLR cable, the tripod that's holding it, the flags, the lights, the computer that's all the way back there, the audio interface. There's several other computers which are not in this room. The ergonomic chairs, the office desks, all those things, the cameras that we have, teleprompters even, heavy-duty tripods, everything was because of those humble beginnings. When I started out as a political analyst and people saw me recording under a tree in front of a mabati, let me tell you the truth, there are people from America. Someone calls and says, young man, I like what you're doing, I will support you. I am sending 40,000. Another one says, I like what you're doing, I am sending 25,000. Another one says, I will send you 500 shillings. Another one says, I will send you 1,000 shillings. Today we have gear worth almost 400,000. And I started in front of a mabati. To the point, I'm a political analyst. That's my full-time day job. And it has reached a point where there are people who come in the middle of the journey. They were not there when we were starting out to kichangiwa. And they constantly accuse me of being funded by politicians and things like that, when it's not the truth. God is my witness. But what an awesome allegation. If you are being accused of being funded by big, mighty people, it means these people are looking at you and they're thinking, this guy is doing well. But the truth of the matter is, we started out recording under a tree in front of a mabati, day in, day out. In fact, I used to have a wooden table, and that table was in very bad condition. So to hide that, I would take a white cloth, and drape it over it. So do not ever be embarrassed of humble beginnings. If you're starting out from a low level, don't worry. The odds of you succeeding is very, very high. I don't know about employment. Employment, there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of nepotism, tribalism, and others are using sexual favors, others are using sorcery. There's so much going on in that particular genre. But if you are starting out, especially in business, you are starting a small kiosk, you are selling shoes. In fact, if you're selling shoes, there are those people who walk with a lot of shoes trying to find buyers. You might be starting out with just 3,000 shillings. You go buy 2 shoes at Kamkunji. You're walking with 2 pairs like this. And someone will look at you and say, oh no, this gentleman or this lady is just walking around with 2 pairs of shoes. That's all they can afford. And you find someone saying, give me those 2 pairs. And here's another 1,000 and ujipange. And that way, people continue supporting you. Don't despise humble beginnings. If you start small, provided you're providing value, people become drawn to you. Don't wait until the day you have everything. You go buy a nice camera, you go buy, you want to start big. You're starting a car hire company, you want to start with a Range Rover and you have a Vitz. Start with that Vitz. Start with what you have. You want to become a farmer, you have 50 by 100. Plant on that 50 by 100. If you want to sell clothes, you can only afford 3 pairs of jeans. Buy those 3 pairs of jeans. Advertise online, WhatsApp story, Instagram story. Someone somewhere will come and buy. Anytime you start small, it means you do not have pride. Pride is what prevents people from starting. I had that pride, but it's just that in a way I didn't kind of care. I just did it nonetheless. But had the pride been so great that I say, oh man, I'm not going to record in front of Amabati. My ex might see this. My friends might see this. You know, I have so many people who I don't want them to see this kind of thing. I would never be where I am today. And I can tell you for a fact, the 25,000 I was being paid as a salesman, I can't compare to what I earn as a political analyst. Just because I put the pride aside and I started recording in front of Amabati. In the Bible, Zechariah chapter 4 verse 10 says the following, and I quote, "Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin, to see the plumb line in Zerubbabel's hand." So even when you are starting small, God is happy to see you starting small. And others will also be happy. When God is happy, other people are happy. And that is how you end up becoming a very big person in whatever industry or field you want to get involved in. I can give one example of somebody who I know, and I know his staff will likely see this. Now I'm fikishie video, it doesn't matter. There is a gentleman called Waweru. Those of you who are from Thika Road area, ya Roasters, you know the Naivas that is there. Behind that Naivas, there is a butchery called Awesome Cross. It's not just a butchery. Behind the butchery, now there is an area where people sit and eat. There is a milk dispenser. There's a lot of things happening there. That gentleman used to work in Naivas, in the butchery. He left that butchery to go start his small butchery behind Naivas. All the clients, all the people who never even knew him, they started buying in that butchery. That butchery gave birth to that restaurant and the milk dispenser. The guy is doing very well in life. He has so many friends. In the community, people are happy with him. Why? Because of humble beginnings. And that is what people love, and that is what God loves. Start with what you have. Others will support you. If you want to have a big grand entrance, it doesn't mean it won't work, but sometimes it can be difficult. So that's the moral of the story. Start with what you have. The same way Waweru started with a butchery, the same way he started recording in front of Amabati, the same way Harley Davidson started in a garage, and now it is a very big company. That's the same way you should start. Start with what you have. Usiogope mtu. Don't worry nani ataniona. What will they say? Will they laugh at me? Let them laugh. Give people the opportunity to laugh and criticize so that when you succeed, the shame will prevent them from even approaching you. Now, if you enjoy this type of content, you can subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, IG, and Facebook at High Altitude Ministries. And with that, bye-bye.